Greetings. Welcome to Monday Morning Meets the Marketplace. I'm Stan Houston. Encore. Encore. How about an encore? Doesn't that sound good? I even like the sound of the word. Encore. Come on back. Do it again. Repeat your performance. It pleases us. It's pleasurable. We want to hear it again. You're not done yet. Play on. Sing on. Perform on. Encore. Encore. Could that be what you and I, as Christian entrepreneurs, as men and women of the Spirit, are called to be and to do? Well, I just think that might be just for you too. And so, briefly today on this Monday, may I take a few minutes to talk about something that could be new, and new for you, and new opportunities for all of us. We simply call it Encore. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, the Encore Experience, and the program begins right now. And greetings to all my friends. I'm going to give you a little coaching idea right now. This is really helpful to you, I think, because it may be something you want to use in giving some of the leadership coaching you do. What you will discover is that oftentimes what I will do is I will make an observation. Just, this is what I've seen. Sometimes I will make a suggestion. You see? That's a little more than an observation. Then I might move it up and actually make a recommendation, which of course is much stronger than just a suggestion. And then finally, I may even issue a challenge. Of course, you're free to accept or reject the challenge, but it's a way of saying, I think you should do this. Why don't you do that? Will you accept that challenge? And of course, you're free to say no. But observation, suggestion, recommendation, and challenge are vital ways of being and expressing yourself a little bit as a leader. Well, today, I'm just going to simply make some observations about what I think is happening, and perhaps a suggestion to myself and to those people who are near and dear to me in what we have now begun to call Encore. Encore. Let me give you a little bit of the story behind it. First of all is, I am now of that fourth quarter age and stage. As I mentioned in a post I sent out to many people around the world, and some of you may have received it, I said, it seems sad to me that Bill and Hillary Clinton, obviously everybody in the world knows who they are, it doesn't appear that they're finishing well. 25, 30 years of obviously fame and power and an immense amount of money. They've certainly made their mark on the world, in the world. But it doesn't appear that life is treating them very well. In fact, they may not end well. And as my friend Verge DeYoung, who's very central to my own life and work, and one of my colleagues in the Christian Entrepreneur Network, says, live well. That's right. Live well. And then seek to finish well. Think about that. Live well. Do well. Finish well. And a lot of people don't. As Howard Hendricks, a very famous Bible teacher, once said, isn't it interesting that in many cases, even some of our strong Bible characters, not all of them ended well. Certainly they were in favor with God. Certainly God has embraced them into eternity. But in terms of their own life, whether it may be David or Solomon or some of the other characters who we certainly learn from and we can set as examples for us, they didn't always end well. So how do we, live well, do well, and treat others well, and then finish well? Well, here's the deal. We are thinking that there is a different way of thinking about what some people call the senior years, the elderly years, the retirement years. And what we're saying is, could it be that what we are called to is our encore years? Now, of course, let me just continue the little bit of the metaphor for you. Most of us know what that means. We go to a performance, a singer, a performer, somebody who's putting on a show of some kind, and the orchestra does well, the band does well, the singer is very entertaining. Maybe even a speaker who simply has just moved our hearts and minds, and we want to hear more. And at the end of the program, we say, encore, encore. Come back on stage. Play it again. Do it some more. You're not finished yet. You still have things that you can do and things that we could benefit from you. We want an encore. And Bruce Schoeman is a gentleman who's helped me incredibly with this, a man of great creativity, who's worked in all kinds of church and ministry and entrepreneurial functions for many years. He has invited me to think about something that he has used. He was asked, after many years of on the road, perhaps to just kind of spend time in one place and helping his going and growing congregation to minister to those people who would be called senior citizens. Those retired folks. And off he did. And of course, he was very good at it because he's very good at what he does. But what he discovered is what he was asked to do and what the people perhaps needed were quite different. They just didn't want to play bingo and Trivial Pursuit and have Minnesota casseroles. Some of them very definitely of the baby boom generation who may have 20 to 30 years to live in their fourth quarter and perhaps in their retirement. They were called for more. And so he took the term encore, and he defined himself as an encore pastor. And I have been deeply moved, not only by his testimony, but it matches my experience. Those of us who God has taken by the hand, by the heart, and by the head, and has led us through life, may say to us, retirement is not a biblical idea. We are not to stop making a contribution. We have all kinds of good things that perhaps you can do. Hey, let's talk about your encore. Your encore. And that's what this is all about. You could be an encore entrepreneur. In fact, you may want to be. You may be called to be. And let's face it, 8 out of 10 people probably will not necessarily have all of the resources they need to retire in that supposedly comfortable retirement. Things just don't always work out. Maybe we need to help people find ways not only to live well, but to finish well, to find ways to make a contribution, ways to receive a compensation, a way to stay more fully alive. As encore people, as encore entrepreneurs, as people who are living a powerful and focused and perhaps contributing life in their encore. I'm Stan Houston. These are a few thoughts for your thought and consideration. Perhaps some observations and suggestions are coming. Again, tcenglobal.org, tcenglobal.org/contribute now. I would be grateful. Right now, we could really appreciate and we could really use. So we will more than appreciate and we could really use your help. If you would like to help sponsor some of the work we do, we would be grateful. tcenglobal.org/contribute now. And maybe you are called to be a late bloomer. And a recent major financial, lifestyle, business magazine recently put together a genuine gem, late bloomers. Let's take a few minutes to talk about what Steve Forbes and Forbes magazine and his people have to say about this new thing called late bloomers. Once again, I'm Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, sponsored by the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We'll be right back. In the April 30th issue of Forbes magazine, by the way, hard to believe, but I keep telling you, you're going to have to get involved. Steve Forbes, who obviously has published and been a part of the publishing family behind Forbes for many, many years. If ever there was a speaker and writer, he has now decided that his work going forward will also be in a podcast. What's Ahead? The new podcast hosted by Steve Forbes will be beginning soon. Please, that's what I will be doing this week. I will be putting together a class, a course, a coaching experience on how to start to be a podcaster. And we're going to make it possible for you to do in your business, in your ministry, in your church, in any organization. A major international organization has contacted me because they know that they have to stay better connected. And they are thinking about, Stan, could we do a podcast? And I said, we can do that. And then the man says, but Stan, I have no idea how to start. And with a smile, I say, well, you're fortunate because I do. And I can help you through. And we can put it on the air and over the top. And you'll find out what that means. But here's what happened. One of his, Steve's, gentleman named Rich Carlsgard, who does a lot of the editorial writing, has put out a new book called Late Bloomers. And it literally says that one of the world's biggest lies is you have to start young to be successful. Recently, I helped one of my friends celebrate the success and the successful sale of her company for an incredible amount of well-deserved wealth, simply said at the celebration party. And you need to know that everything I really have achieved was after my 40th birthday. And he says, that idea that you have to start young to start being successful is not true. And he goes on to say, the happy truth is that what really counts for a satisfying life is what you do many years after you leave school. We must, as individuals and as a culture, celebrate the full range of human ability and diverse timetables for individual success and achievement. We should embrace the need for a kinder clock, from children, kinder clock for human development. He says we are wasting immense talent by the way we treat older people. Understandably, companies always want to have open pathways for younger, dynamic people, and concurrently want older managers and executives who are slowing down and who are just kind of past their prime to make way for those who can better do their jobs. So employers try to find ways to put oldies but goodies out to pasture. Yet while these individuals may not be willing to travel 1,000,000 miles a year, and they may not be able to work umpteen extra hours a week, they still possess immense experience and wisdom that can be enormously helpful to younger people. Shouldn't we work to develop a legal and cultural environment in which If a person chooses, he or she will take a cut in pay, but remain available as a mentor and a consultant. Their credibility advantage is that they're not competing for promotions or expanding their turfs. Yeah, think how much political pressure and how much money is wasted on people doing that. But they can do what is truly important, is they can contribute to the culture and the well-being and the profitability of the organization. We're calling that the Encore. And in our church, we want to celebrate a whole Encore fellowship. We want to equip people, both spiritually, emotionally, even professionally. 10,000 people a day from the baby boomer generation are joining the Encore, and most of them do not know quite how to do it. And they will need help. They will need counsel. And there are all kinds of opportunities where they can be useful. And we want to facilitate both in ministry and industry. You got that? In ministry and industry, we want to facilitate a whole group, boatload, a whole arkful of people who are serving the master entrepreneur, and they are going to use their abilities and the counsel and wisdom they have with our help to join not just a senior generation, not an elderly generation. Don't call them senior citizens. Don't call them elderly. You can call them elders in the sense they're wise, insightful, truthful, and spirit-filled, but they are in the Encore. Does that appeal to you? Does that sound like something you'd like to be involved in? Something about Encore, Encore. A new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new way of achieving, doing things profoundly differently so that you can, of course, live well, do well, finish well, so that you can truly be making a contribution, receiving compensation, and finding the truth of the moment and of eternity is that we are all made to be forever loving, contributing, and serving one another and those that God loves. And He loves them all, even you and even me. I'm Stan Houston. I'm calling you to Encore. Thank you very much. A high-energy iPod casting, an internet personal on-demand radio program. This is what we call it, iPod Radiocast, podcasting. We are going to be helping you do it in your life, in your business, in your church, in your ministry, in your industry. We can do that, and you're going to have to learn how to do it. The world will be owned by the ones who own the phones. The last radio will probably be produced within the next 2 years. And from that time on, audio communication through smartphones, through tablets, maybe through computers, but not nearly as much. We want to help you be the people who can do that with energy, enthusiasm, engagement, and do it well, to be a iPod radiocaster. Let's see if we can make that happen. Again, you can reach me at radioedge77@gmail.com. Radio Edge. That's what we are. We're radio on the edge. radioedge77@gmail.com. Located in Tucson, Arizona, of course, on Route 77, which eventually makes its way to Route 66. That's where we are, both in terms of life stage and the style that we bring. Old-fashioned, traditional, conservative, but deeply committed to the values that make a difference in the world. So I hope you will join us. Once again, the tcenglobal.org/contribute now is where I'd love for you to go. And we're going to have a lot more programs this week. Tomorrow we're going to ask the question, is the term capitalism now dead? Well, that's coming up. I'm Stan Houston for the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. All the best and blessings to you on this Monday, flowing into Tuesday. And bye for now.